Hey everybody, welcome back. Last week we began a series called Friends and Lovers, and we did part one where we talked about social intimacy. And basically the series Friends and Lovers is just talking about how to keep the passion in marriage or in relationships burning. And last week we mentioned that we have to take a holistic approach to it. And so we talked about the social intimacy aspect of it. So for that, please check out our YouTube channel and just listen to it even as you engage with this one. And again, next week we'll be releasing another one, same Friends and Lovers, until we cover all four aspects, which is social intimacy, emotional intimacy, spiritual intimacy, and finally sexual intimacy. So yeah, this is I believe is what is the holistic approach in keeping the fire burning within our relationship. So today is part two. Part two won't be as long as part one, because there's many things we talked about to just give the ground or set the groundwork or the foundation for this conversation. So please, again, if you haven't watched it, if you're new to this channel, just go back to our channel and check out Friends and Lovers part one, so that you can get the context in which we are doing this. So today we are talking about emotional intimacy. What is emotional intimacy? Emotional intimacy really is when a couple build a deep level, heart-to-heart connection, sharing at the deepest level, which is hopes and fears and their longings. This is, you can't get any deeper than that. In fact, sociologists say that there are a couple of levels, about 5 levels, in which we communicate with each other as human beings. The first level is courtesy. This is where we have greetings and small talk. We can talk about the weather. We can say, "Hi, how are you?" That's communication. That's the basic level of this emotional intimacy. Then there's the second level, which is the details, and this details entails sharing information, e.g. the kids are on half term, or we're going here, we used this car. That's the second level of communication. Then there's the third level, which is ideas. This is now a deeper level, as you begin to know and to get comfortable with each other, whereby you're able to share ideas with each other. Then there's another level, which now is a deeper level, where you're able to share your feelings. And at this point is when now vulnerability begins to come in. And at this level, you're very comfortable with the person that you're relating with. So that and hopefully in your relationships you are at this level where you're sharing your feelings. I feel this way about you when you look into my eyes. Things like that. So that's the fourth level, and the fifth level is where you get to share your hopes and your fears. Now this is the deepest level, because typically this is where now you're sharing the most vulnerable part of you, and you're entrusting this information with somebody who might not feel the same way as you do. So it's a very hard thing to share. With other people. Now we've had, or sociologists will tell you, that in a lot of relationships, most people end up using only the first 3 levels. Level 1 being courtesy, level 2 details and ideas. A lot of people really omit the feelings and the hopes and fears. And this tends to hinder our relationships greatly. And we're not able to develop the intimacy that we would like to develop. Now, in order for us to draw closer to each other, in order for us to grow, it is important for us to be able to go all the way to the 5th level of intimacy. So there are things that I feel are barriers that prevent us from getting here. The first one is the lack of emotional maturity on one or both of the partners, which creates an imbalance. Sometimes immaturity, prevents us from being able to share, but also immaturity prevents us also from receiving well the information that is shared to us, especially when people are vulnerable, with us. Now, picture this: whenever you've shared this thing that you feel is so valuable to you and somebody kind of just rubbishes it, the feeling that it makes you feel. This is one of the biggest barriers, that prevents us from achieving this emotional intimacy. Another one is ignorance of your spouse's needs and how to meet them. This one mostly is for men. Men who are just logical and analytical. They really struggle understanding their women. But it's not just limited to men, it's also to the women, because again, we are wired very differently. There's a book called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. That book will typically just let you know how we have different operating systems, within us. Yes, we can achieve the same things, but how we achieve them is totally different. So women struggling to understand their men and the men struggling to understand their women. So there's an ignorance there of, what the need is of your spouse and how that you can manage to meet that need. Now, the third barrier is not having adequate time together. Guys, we live in such a fast-paced world. Man, society is moving constantly. We're constantly on the hustle, on the grind, trying to get ahead, trying to make a buck, trying to pay our bills, trying to get from point A to point B. And guys, the biggest thing that ends up suffering is our relationship. Spending time together, quality time together, time to talk, time to share, time to hang out, time to do stuff with each other. That is compromised. And when that is compromised, it makes it that much more difficult for us to be able to be intimate with each other or grow in intimacy with each other. The last one is allowing others, for example, children or friends and parents, to meet a need other than your spouse. Now, a lot of us are very guilty about this. There's always that one other person who's just easier to talk to. It could be your mom, it could be your dad, and this person ends up taking the space or the place of your partner, who you're supposed to spend this time sharing this information or sharing this vulnerability with. Sometimes even our children, we share things with our children instead of sharing it with our spouse. I've been guilty of that. My son is much older now, so I talk to him quite a bit. I've just realized there's some conversations I have with him. You know what? This conversation I should have had with my wife. So my wife is totally clueless, but my son knows. So it's important for us to always be conscious that you're not giving somebody else what you should have given to your partner. So then what can we do? What can we do to enhance this emotional intimacy within our relationships? There are two things I would like to suggest. First of all is to get rid of those barriers, and then do these two things. The first one is learn to talk and listen. There's a good example. There's a friend of mine who was saying, I do not know what to get them for Christmas. I do not know what to get them for their birthday. I do not know what to get them for their anniversary. The truth is, if you just spend a little time listening to your person, you would know where they're at in life and what it is that they desire for that particular time in life. So listening and talking is very, very important. Now, men listen quite a bit, but they don't talk, they don't share. Women tend to talk a lot, but their listening may be a little bit compromised because they just have a lot to share. So it's important for us to take time to listen to what our partner is saying, engage them in conversation, and then also take time to talk to our partner and share the deepest things within us, so that we are constantly knowing where we are at and what is going on with each other, so that we are building that cohesion and that oneness in our emotion. The second thing is learning one another's love languages. This is very important. I remember in the beginning of my marriage, my wife used to give me so many gifts. She used to give me gifts, and for me, I do not get excited about gifts at all. I mean, I appreciate them, and I appreciate the love and the thought behind them, but it's not a big deal. However, if you affirm me, oh man, you would have done like loads for me. So it's important to understand the love languages. Now, what is a love language? Love language is a way that we speak and receive love from one another. And a gentleman who had read about this, called Gary Chapman, I think, he said that there are 5 love languages. The first one is acts of service, then there's quality time, there's gifts, giving of gifts, receiving of gifts, then there is words of affirmation, and what is the last one? But anyway, there are 5 of them. I will remember and I will put them down in the description. So remember that each one of us has a different love language, and it's important to know our partner's love language, so that when we speak to them in that language, they're able to receive the things that we are speaking about, so that we can be able to communicate with each other. And as we communicate, we will connect, and as we connect, we'll develop more intimate relationships with each other. And that's basically what emotional intimacy is. So this is part 2. Part 1, we talked about social intimacy. Remember, there are 4 parts to this, and it's important to look at this in a holistic approach, so that we can enjoy the spark that we desire within our marriages and our relationships. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell and share this video with your friends, so that we can enjoy a better society with people enjoying relationships, much richer relationships. My name is Emmanuel G. Fellas, and I'm out.